Hey there, Munchie Mafia. So we got a wheel and we did a live yesterday to fill in all these spots. And what was chosen was steak, cream corn, caramel sauce, shrimp, and basmati rice. So let's get this shit show started. All right, so we're going to start off with the first thing that takes the longest but needs the least amount of babysitting, and that's going to be the basmati rice. Now, what is the difference between all the different rices? You got sticky rice, you got jasmine rice, you've got this rice, you've got that rice. Which one's actually better for you? The long grain rices are actually better for you because they're lower on the glycemic index. So, especially if you have blood sugar issues and you have to eat rice, this is the better one to eat. But then again, in moderation. Okay. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the stove and we are going to get my little pot right here. And there we go. Little pot right here. And we are going to get this preheated because I didn't think this through as much as I would like. So this is just a enameled cast iron pot. It should be just perfectly fine for rice for two people. We're going to give it a few dashes of sesame oil. And we're just going to let this get up to temp. Probably have to add a little bit of olive oil to it. But I thought we were making basmati rice. Well, we are making basmati rice, but we're making it a different way because you could steam it. There's nothing wrong with steaming your rice. But I like to treat it more like a rice pilaf of sorts, and I like to get it all nice and toasty because one of the things about basmati rice is that it has a tendency to be very aromatic. It has almost a nutty floral scent to it, unlike jasmine that's more floral but no nuttiness. So in order to extract some of the nuttiness out of there, we're going to give it a good little bit of heat first, and then we're going to add the water, or liquid, I should say. You can just use just water, or you can do other things with it, with like some broth of some sort, or coconut milk if you wanted. But if you're going to use coconut milk, you're going to want to be very careful with it because it will burn on the bottom. The sugars will burn. But if you are going to add some coconut milk to it, just back off some of the liquid and add it halfway through and just fold it in, and then just let it do its thing. It usually takes about a half hour. So we're going to start this up first and then we're going to go from there. So we got some movement with our oil. Our oil seems to be doing pretty well. So we're going to add 2 cups of rice. And we're going to get something to stir this. We're just going to, you know what, I just want a spoon. Wooden spoon for this. And we're just going to let it toast a little bit. You can also do this in the oven. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to toss it in oil and then lay it out on a sheet pan or in an oven-safe pan of some sort. Like a casserole dish or something. And every few minutes you're going to want to, stir it up until you got a nice golden color to it. And this is a lot like if you were to cook rice-a-roni. Now, this one, basmati rice, is fluffy, but it's not a sticky rice. It's not as glutinous. So you get individual rice grains. So it looks nicer on the plate than just having just plain steamed rice. When this is doing its thing a little bit more, we're just going to keep stirring it. Now you do want to keep an eye on it because you can end up burning it, and then next thing you know it, especially these enameled cast irons, they will leave a permanent mark in a scar in the bottom of the pan. So you want to be very careful. We're just going to let it do its thing there. I'll take this down off of here for a moment. We're not actually going to use that. Let's come back over here for a moment. I'm going to talk about the creamed corn. So creamed corn is actually a pretty simple thing to make. And what you're going to do is you can use frozen corn or you can just use canned corn. It don't matter. I like to use fresh because I don't really like canned vegetables much. I only tolerate canned tomatoes just slightly. But then again, it's like sometimes tomato season around here can be hit or miss. So we're going to break it all up. And we're going to add, Jesus Christ. We're going to add just a little smidge of cornstarch. Now, some other recipes might say use a roux and then work it in that way with the heavy cream and let it do its thing. I like to use cornstarch because lately I've been having a lot of problems with itching. So we're going to just do it this way. I actually have an intolerance to wheat. It really triggers my eczema, which can be so, whenever I have an outbreak of that, I just want to basically cut body parts off completely because it's so intolerable. All right, we're just going to take a smidge of butter. That's like it's like half of a stick of butter. All right. And then we're going to use heavy cream. Now, Killing and Grilling It sent me this really, really nice spice blend. And I'll read the label here in a moment. You want to have just enough to basically cover the corn completely. This is one of those, one pot wonders of sorts. All right, set that aside. So this here is Jim Baldridge's Secret Seasoning, all-purpose, all-natural, original old family recipe. Now, one of his people that rents some pasture land is the owner of this company. They're in Nebraska, and I'll have the link in the description for their website. It's baldridgeseasoning.com. So it's made in the United States, and it's got all natural seasoning. So we're going to give it a pretty good dash of that. And when I say a pretty good dash of that, we're going to go pretty aggressive on it because I really love the smell of this. This might become my most favorite seasoning over Old Bay, even. I mean, that's how good this stuff smells. It has nice fragrance. It's not overpowering in any specific herb or spice. It's nicely balanced. So we're going to see how this works out. I'm really excited for this. So the ingredients is salt, sugar, spices, dehydrated onion, garlic, herbs, including marjoram, rosemary, and thyme, and natural flavor added. And it's a 4.7 ounce shaker. Really excited for this. I really want to try this so bad. So we're going to actually put this on the back burner. We're going to set it to medium, and we're going to just throw the lid on that and just let it do its thing for a while. We're just going to ignore it for a bit. I'm going to come back over to our rice because I smell some burning going on. Oh no. And you want to be very careful not to flick this out onto you, because if it lands on your skin, it's very hot and it will burn you pretty badly. So, like I said, we got a little bit of a burn going on. All right, so we're going to lower the temperature. Give it a little bit more oil. I'll put some olive oil in there. There we go. This is the pot that I generally use for making rice. And like I said, rice when it gets a little too crispy, it tends to scar the bottom of these pans a little bit. It takes forever for it to wear out or to clean up. So now when the rice grains start to turn white and you've got like a bright white and you got some golden color to it, then that's about the time that you can actually start adding your liquid. But first, we're going to add the whites of some green onions. And I can already smell how fragrant this rice is going to be. And then I have a little bit of my smoked garlic. We're going to give it a little smidge of that as well. We're going to give it like 1 clove, maybe 2 cloves. So scrape that in there. Let's go with 2. Feel like garlic today. So scrape that off into there. Set that aside. So when you cook your rice like this, it's generally like a 1.5 to 1 ratio of water to rice. So if we have 2 cups, you're going to want to go 2.5 cups. We got some nice color on there. And what this is going to do is it's going to give it more flavor and a little bit more texture. You're going to notice that nuttiness to your rice. You can also put this in the oven and bake it. And it's usually about a half hour. I'm going to give it a smidge of salt, a smidge of pepper. And I just bought a new seasoning today that I want to pair up with this rice because we are doing something a little non-traditional in that there's going to be caramel sauce introduced to this dish at some point. And I will explain the method to my madness. But what I got here is made by O Food. And it's gochujang kick. So we're just going to give it a smidge, like, you know, a pretty decent smidge, but not too much of a smidge. Now, if you really like that flavor a lot, then you can put as much as you want. But that's also going to toast a little bit, so it should bring out some more of the flavor. I'm going to put just a little smidge more. I like the color of it. It almost looks like my buffalo sauce. All right. All right, we're going to flip on over here for a second. I'm going to show you a little trick to can opening. Can opening 101. So we got a can here. You got a can opener. It's got two thingies here, right? But here's the thing, is that you can go that way, you can go that way, but in reality, if you go this way, it opens the can a lot better. I've been trying to explain this to TRP and as well as Derek, that they've been using can openers wrong for a long time. Yeah, and there's a reason for this, is that now you don't have, you can pull this part out and not have to worry about cutting yourself. Now this can opener is probably on its last leg, so it's a little janky. Oh wait, there's my measuring cup. So we need 2 cups. Now we're going to hit that with the liquid, and then we're going to put like a half of a cup more. No, 1 full cup. 1.5 to 1. There we go. But I'll tell you why that's the best way to open up a can in just a second. Let me flip this back over to the, ow, where's my mittens? I'll explain why in just a moment. Flip that to the rear. And we're going to set that for a number 6. It's pretty high for a coil burner. Okay, so now we're back. The reason why is because this isn't nearly as sharp. This is not going to cut you nearly as badly. But when you cut it the other way, you got this part right here, right? And it's sharp as hell. That if you put it in your can or in your garbage can, you don't dispose of it properly, it can cut through the bag. And as you're hoisting the bag to put into your garbage, you can actually cut your leg wide open with those because they're damn sharp. And then on top of all of it, if you're one of those people that's like trying to get it out of there by using your fingers, you could slice a finger open. This here is not sharp at all. Not sharp at all. I mean, literally not sharp at all. And this is also not as sharp. This is not going to cut you unless you're really trying to force the issue.
Reseal the can.
You can also reseal the can, but this can got a little mangled because it's a very old can opener. So you can also just put that back on there and just wrap it with some plastic wrap and then stick it in your fridge. So that's the proper use of a can. That way you're not getting hurt. Nobody's getting bloodied. Nobody's having to go to the ER for stitches, just for taking out a trash can or a trash bag out to the curb, you know. So yeah, there's that. So you're welcome, Derek and TRP. Yes, you, TRP, you did it wrong too. Anyway, so now we got all that going. Bring this back over here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take care of these beautiful ribeyes. We got 3 here. There's a daddy size, a mommy size, and a baby size. Baby size is actually for the dogs. So I'm not going to marinate theirs because, you know, we don't want dogs to have the shits all night long, right? So they're just going to get a very basic, they're getting basic bitch ribeyes. So now, and the last thing that we're going to work on are the shrimp And that's going to be really exciting. I think you're going to really be excited for that one. All right. So my marinade that I like to make is not nearly this composed, but because of the caramel sauce, and this is where the method to my madness happens, that we're going kind of Asian themed with this because that's the best way to do it with the caramel sauce. Now I did buy the high quality Ghirardelli stuff. I'm not making it from scratch because I just don't have time. So this is miso. We're going to put like a heaping tablespoon of miso into the bowl. Then we're going to take a little bit of this gochujang, if I can get it open, and we're going to just put like a little tiny smidge of it in there. Okay. Now we're going to take a little bit of our garlic. Not a lot of garlic. We're just going to use just 2 cloves of garlic. Now this is the smoked garlic that I did. If you have a smoker, I highly recommend just going and buying one of those big giant bags of garlic from Costco or Sam's Club or whatever the hell you got out there, or restaurant food service, because what you do is you just pitch them all on the top shelf of your smoker while you're smoking other things, and you let that do its thing for a couple hours, and then you pull them out, let them cool completely in refrigeration until they're a safe temperature because botulism. And then you can just put them into a baggie and pitch them in the freezer and just pull them out as you need them to use, because it doesn't really take that long for them to thaw out once you've broken them apart. I just throw them in the whole bulb, just the whole bulb. And oh my God, the flavor is just so amazing. So we're going to add just a little smidge of rice vinegar, just a little smidge, like half of a teaspoon. We're going to put a little bit of mirin in there, about a tablespoon. We're going to reduce this temperature down to a 1 on the rice because I hear a lot of movement. We're going to take a little bit of soy sauce, about a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. And a few drops of sesame oil. Okay, half of a teaspoon. Now that's going to have quite a bit of sodium to it, so you're not going to want to use any, but you're going to want to just give it just a little punch of honey. If you don't eat honey for whatever reason, you're allergic or just don't want to eat that because you don't like it because you had some trauma in your childhood from murder hornets or something like that, and you just can't do it, don't use it. You can use maple syrup, agave, whatever you want. All right, so now we're just going to give that a mixy mix. Until it's all thoroughly combined. And we got this nice, pretty color, and it really has a nice, pretty scent to it. We're not going to want to add anything more to it other than that. Okay, let's just stay put. You? All right. Now, you need another pair of gloves. Now, we're not going to do this to the dog's steak because, yes, our girls get spoiled. They're spoiled little divas. So this is for them. Now, these actually have some pretty decent marbling. I would have liked a little bit more marbling, but it has a good amount of fat still attached to it. Now, we're going to just coat the steaks, set them down back on the tray for a moment. And then we'll save the remainder of this for some basting. And we'll come right back to that. We're going to go over here back to the stove for a moment. We're going to check our corn and see how we're doing. What we're basically looking to do is get this so that, it's all nice and cooked up, nice. Now, some of the things that you can do, I don't know. Can you see the stove back here?
Yeah.
Yeah? Or should I pull it forward a little bit?
That's better.
That's better? Okay, so we're just going to let it do its thing still. It's still got a ways to go because we've got to get it to simmer and let the magic happen with that. So eventually what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this out and we're going to put it through the blender and then reintroduce it back to the pot. But for right now, we're just going to let it get happy for a little while. That butter is just starting to melt, so we're not even anywhere close. So see, there's that butter. It's still there's still just a little tiny bit of the knob of that. So we're just going to let it get happy. We're going to just take a look at our rice. Our rice is doing pretty good. Just want to take a look and see how the liquid is doing. And like I said, it's nice fat rice. Usually takes about 20 minutes to a half hour. So that's on low. That's on medium. So now we're going to get our cast iron going. It takes little to nothing at all to cook those shrimps up, but we want to be able to get our steaks going next so that they have time to rest. And I have to do the steaks in two parts because I like mine to mug me as it's coming off of the cast iron. So there we have that. We're gonna just raise the temp a little bit. We'll hit it with some oil in just a moment. So let's go back to this wheel thing here. I'm going to explain how this worked. Is that this outer ring has a bunch of different proteins on there. Then
all
we got
picked by you guys.
Huh?
All picked by you.
All picked by you all. You all picked this, and we spun the wheel to find out which ingredients was going to become this meal, and that's how this sort of effery happened with the caramel sauce. Not that I'm complaining, but I am complaining. But I'm not complaining, but I'm complaining. So we got meat, then veg, and then starch, and then random ingredients. And the random ingredients, let me pull this off here real quick. We got Worcestershire sauce, dark chocolate, tahini, coconut milk, Old Bay, green olives, pickles, Twizzlers, Cheese Whiz, Vienna sausages, pork rinds, potato chips, black beans, and pimento. And then there's other stuff on the ring outside that. The weird ones on that one is potato salad and Kraft macaroni and cheese. And then the next ring is pretty much pretty standard stuff. It's nothing really to write home about. But then you got this outer ring where the meat is. We got Slim Jims. We got Slim Jims and hot dogs and Spam and fish sticks and chicken nuggets. So that's, and alligator and duck is also on there. So after we're done with this, we're going to spin the wheel to find out what the next round is going to be, I think. Is that how we're working it, or is that not how we're working it? Spin the wheel to find out what the next round is, or should I keep it a mystery?
We'll leave it. We'll put up a short or do a short live.
Oh, okay.
to
Yeah.
pick the next one.
Yeah. Because we also, as we pick things, what we do is we then spend or we go in and find out who's going to be selecting what, and to fill the spaces back in while all the other ingredients are left there for the next time. So we might have a little bit of a contest. Maybe remove some of these more common things for more effed up ones. We'll soon see. But everybody's starting to get into the spirit of how this whole mystery box thing is supposed to work. Okay, so now we got our oil in there. Probably need more oil. Let's give it a little bit more oil. So generally you want your steaks to rest in the marinade for about a half hour. But you definitely want to, what you definitely want to do is you want to make sure that you let your steaks come up to room temperature before introducing them. So and drop theirs first. Probably turn the fan on. Huh? The fan? Yeah. Yeah, last thing we want is for us to end up having to deal with the smoke detector. It actually happens quite frequently. Actually had an accident earlier in the week, um, earlier last week. It set the oven on fire. Okay, puppy, you need to go. You gotta move out of the way, okay? All right, so we're gonna go and stir our corn, see how it's doing. It's doing quite well. Mm, that marinade really does smell delicious. So there is a chemical process that happens when you apply high heat to meat, the browning process, and it's called the Maillard reaction. It's where um, the meat becomes caramelized and this leaves those little sticky bits at the bottom of your pan. Um, and then that's when you go back and you deglaze the pan with some sort of liquid. Generally, it's like an alcohol of some sort. And it helps to release those brown bits. And then you can build a pan sauce from that. It's called Maillard reaction. Okay, so we've given this a stir. It's getting nice and thick. So it needs to reduce just a little bit longer. Our steaks are going. And how do you tell when a steak has not reached its full Maillard reaction? Is when it does not release from the pan very easily. If there's some pull, it's not ready. Like that one. That one should stand just a little bit more heat. Yeah, once when it's gotten that nice caramelization, it will release from the bottom of the pan. Unless you got some shitty ass pan. So and this one is just not quite wanting to release just yet. That one definitely doesn't want to release just yet. No, I did not season the girls' steak because they're dogs. They don't need all that flavor. They're basic bitches, so be basic. They just want the meat. We do want to make sure that it is cooked all the way through for them, to at least a medium. To prevent choking. All right. So we're starting to get some thickening happening here, so we're going to actually reduce the temperature down to about a 2. It's moving. It's moving a little too bubbly for my taste. So, and we're gonna want to taste that in a little bit. Make sure that we don't need to adjust. Okay, so there we go. There's that. See how it released nice and easy. This one's still just like, no, I don't want to. And what we can do is we can just come along and give it a basey base, provided I can find my doohickey, which is probably in my toolbox. Yeah, ended up in my toolbox. All right. So we got some nice blackening happening on the top of that steak, but we're gonna, you know, give it a little kiss more of that beautiful marinade. And this is about the time that I'd want to introduce mine. Oh yeah. Let's see how the girls are feeling here. Yeah, see how it kind of wanted to pull on me. It's not quite ready, but we're gonna try putting it over there. Move his over here. These are gonna be beautiful steaks. Nice big thick ones. I like it when the lip is on it though, because I really like that fat. Really love the fat. Fat's actually my favorite part of ribeyes. But the only ones that they had with the lip on were in huge packages, and there's no reason for me to have huge packages of meat. It would have taken me forever to get through all that. I want a little bit more color on mine. So the way that you tell how your steak is doing is, generally, if you make a shape like that, this is going to be rare. This is going to be medium rare. This is going to be medium. This is going to be medium well. This is going to be well done. You just use, this reasoning at hand. But then again, sometimes steaks will lie to you, so it just depends on the cut of meat. All right, flip the girls is over. I don't like to stick thermometers in my meat too early, because then you end up searching it, and you let all that juice run out. A little bit more. That's where the flavor is. All right, I'm gonna come back over to the corn. And here's our corn. Our corn is doing quite well. Now, you don't have to put it in a blender or a food processor if you don't want to. You can just call this good. If you shave it, which I did shave half of them, that's just basically just running the knife along the corn several passes worth, and just incorporate that. It's plenty good enough. All right, let's Give that a tasty taste. Did I bring some more spoons over? I did not. Okay. I'll get some more spoons. Or a spoon, I should say. Dishwasher. Oh, dishwasher is done. Okay. So it's gonna be hot. Mmm. Oh my god. It's so good. So good. But it does need more salt. I'm gonna put some more salt, probably a little bit more of that seasoning. I really like the flavor of that. So killing it and growing it, this stuff is freaking amazing. Please let your people know that I thoroughly enjoy this stuff. This is gonna be my new favorite. I have a feeling I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy this on just about everything. But since corn is kind of a blank canvas, I figured that that would be the best way to showcase that seasoning. Alright. Alright, so Timmy's is about a medium. I'm going to flip it. Let it get a little bit more color on that other side. A little bit more of that heat on the other side. And make sure that it's up against the side wall of the pan. I'm going to flip mine over again too. Now, one of the ways, if your steak is getting too much color, one of the things you could do is you could take a piece of lettuce or a couple pieces of leaf lettuce and put it down in the pan and then put your steak on top of it. And that will help to retard some of the color, but still allow it to cook. Just so you know, that's how we actually do that in restaurants. Believe it or not, some restaurants actually use that technique. And you just lay the leaves down and put the steak on top, or burger, whichever. I'm gonna render some of that fat, so we're gonna just put it over there. Did I flip the girls' already? I don't remember if I flipped this one.
Yeah.
Did I? Okay. Because theirs is. Oh my god, it just tastes so good. Mm. Mm. So now we're gonna kill the heat to the rice because I'm more than certain that the rice is done by now. Rice has a certain smell to it. I'm gonna actually return that back onto that. I'm gonna get the oven mitt. Pull that off. Oh yeah, look at that rice. Mm, that's nice. Oh, son of a bitch. I think the cows are mad at me. Alright. Might as well get the platter ready. Actually, no. I'm going to use two rectangles. Alright. Back it a little bit more. I'm actually going to stab Timmy. It's actually a hotter spot right there. There's mine over here. Put another brush in. Because what's going to happen is because it's got a little bit of the sugar in it, it's going to caramelize a little bit. That's what's causing it to be dark. But Kimmy's needs a little bit more cooked. All right. So our corn is going. The steaks are going. I'm afraid to put them in the oven and to finish them. That's how I always end up with a overcooked steak. So we're going to just let them sit there and do their thing right there on that stove or on that burner. We're going to come over here. We're going to actually get ready to rock and roll with our shrimpies. Now our shrimpies, we could use a little bit more of that marinade in there, carry it over, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We're going to let this get warm and give it some olive oil and a little bit of sesame oil. The reason why I mix them is because sesame oil can be very strong flavored and it can be a little bit, slight bit off-putting. Now, pop over here to this screen or this camera for just a moment. I'm going to explain how the shrimp go. So, need my bowl. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use ginger paste, about a tablespoon. This is the Gourmet Garden stuff. I talk about this stuff a lot. It's really, really, really good. Now, we also have some lemongrass. We're not going to go too heavy on that. We're just going to go like a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half. But this also has those two ingredients in there, but it also has the Thai basil and some chili. So we're going to go a tablespoon and a half of that. Now, we're going to use that for the finishing. That just is not going to want to sit, is it? Okay, so let me get rid of this. I don't need that anymore. All right, so what we have here is we've got sweet onion and bell pepper, green bell pepper and sweet onion. Our steaks are getting happy over there. And then we got our shrimps. Now, when it comes to shrimps, you can do it one of two ways. You can do them shell on or you can do them shell off. Now, these ones have tail on and they're basically going to be treated as a garnish. So it's okay to leave them on there, but you don't have to. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take the tails off. Now the tails, you just squeeze them and they come out just easily, just like so. And we're going to massage all of that goodie into the shrimps. But I don't understand, Civi. Where's the caramel coming from? Well, I'm going to explain that in a little bit. In Asian cooking, there is a dish where it's shrimp and it's got caramel sauce. Now, we could make it from scratch, which I've done before using coconut milk, and it's just canned coconut milk and pearl sugar. All right. Or we could just use this. So I figured this is going to be the easiest way to get this mystery box done and over with, because you Some people may not know how to make caramel sauce from scratch. And that's okay. Okay, so now we got that. And these are going to be nice and light and bright. These will only take like a few minutes. So now we're going to actually take some of that smoked garlic. We're going to take the rest of the smoked garlic and we're going to get that ready to go. We're not going to put it directly into the pan just yet because we don't want it to burn, or else your dish is going to taste like burnt garlic. So let's just get that all out of the way before we walk over there with this bowl, because we're just going to hit this at the very end, knock the chill off, and call it a day. All right, there we go. All right, so now we're going to just grab all of our stuff, over shirt. I check out our pan. I was actually talking about this pan with Timmy the other day, and it had it for a long time, and it still has its non-stick qualities. I've tried heating the living crap out of this pan, heating it up really, really, really super duper high, and whatnot. All right, I'm gonna scoop the rest of that in there. And put it through the dishwasher, use metal utensils in it, and it's been a really good pan for me. Over there. Okay, so shrimps don't take very long at all. And we want to get that nice caramelization. We want to get a lot of color on those because that's where all the flavor is. Because one of the things about shrimps, when you're cooking shrimps, if you leave them whole and intact, the shell's on, you end up with a more delicate. Why is there water in the handle? You end up with more delicate, more moist, and more succulent shrimp, but you lose out on the flavor. And I was watching another creator who was doing a shrimp dish over on Rumble, and he was doing a comparison between the two, and I wholeheartedly agree. But one of the things that I like to do is leave them shell on, and then peel them just as they're just almost done. Then return them back to the pan for some high heat so that we can get the caramelization and then build a shell stock out of the shells. Which making shell stock and fish stock really doesn't take nearly as long. It's not one of those all-day processes where you're cooking it all damn day long. No, it's not. It's not that long at all. Okay, now we got our garlic. I want to know why there's water in the handle of my pan. All right, so there we have that. And now we're going to give it a little bit of that gochujang kick seasoning, just to liven it up, brighten it up a little bit, because we also need something to help cut through the sweetness of this caramel sauce. Now we're going to just hit it with a bunch of the caramel, and yes, there's an actual Asian dish that has caramel sauce, not necessarily Ghirardelli's, however. Now we're going to just take our onions, just going to add them to it. Take our bell peppers because we want to retain much of that crunch. So we're basically just treating this as though we were doing a stir fry. Let them get some of that heat, but not too much that they're limpy and you stick it in your mouth, and you got third-degree burn on the roof of your mouth and your lip. So plus the veg will help to protect those shrimps a little bit. So and we have that and that. A little bit more caramel. I know that there's going to be some people that are going to be like, this is one of those stupid ass videos that's got a bunch of shit on it that doesn't work, and it's gross and gross and gross. Well, you know what? Actually, you've got to try this. You've got to actually try this. Even if you just fry up 2 shrimp and give it a try, you'll be really surprised at the taste of it. So we do want to hit it with some salt. And just let them do their thing right there like that, like so. Now we got our steaks over here, and we can actually get started on the plating. I'm actually not going to put our corn through the food processor unless Timmy wants it that way. Do you want it that way? You don't care?
No.
All right. So, couple containers, couple rammies, corn. All right. Now we're up to plating. I'm going to kill all the heat off. Bring our basmati rice over. Now the basmati rice, I want to add just a few little titches of stuff. I'm going to put a little bit of this Thai seasoning paste in there, just to give it a little bit, just to tie the flavors together. It ties a room together, man. Ties a room together. All right, and as you can see, it's nice and it's just nice. They're loose grains. Let's scoop this over a little bit more. There we go. They're nice loose grains. They're not sticky. Now we're going to put our rice down. Which camera are we on? This one? Okay. Just want to make sure. Now, if you want, you can also put some cilantro in there, in the rice. See how nice and loose that is? Doesn't have a lot of stickiness. It's got just the right amount of stickiness, in my opinion. Just kind of have a little bit of stickiness. All right. So there we have that. You want your steak sliced, or you want it left whole? Would you like your steak sliced?
No.
Okay. All right. There's that. I'll just set that aside in case you want more rice. I'm going to come over here. We're going to get our cream corn. Oops. Making a lot of noise over here. And that. Ladle. A ladle. And we got our cream corn. Look at that. That looks sexy. It's a weird combination, I know, but this is the whole beauty of the mystery box. So how the hell do you do this and make it all tie together? Well, it's a veg. It doesn't have to tie together. All right. So now We go for our steak. Look how nice and beautiful that is. Left is Timmy's, right is mine. And now we go over here and bring our ow, mother hummer shrimpies. So now I'm going to top our plate with some shrimps. Got some corn hair in there. Just kind of let them fall where they fall. A little of our veggie. You want some of this? Huh?
You put some on steak, did you?
Yes, it's on the steak.
Okay.
They're all on the steak. All right, Monkey Mafia. So there we have it. Now we have our beautiful caramel sauce mystery box. Caramel sauce, creamed corn, steak, shrimp, and basmati rice. And we've got it. So let's do a money shot. Kind of made a mess of this plate. All right. With the money shot right there. Just like so. Beautiful. Smells wonderful too. All right. So, Munchie Mafia, there we have it. Our first mystery spinny of the wheel. Just like so. That's how we figured it out. We just spun and spun and spun and spun and spun and spun. An hour and a half. So if you go look in the live, you will find the whole video there. Go check it out. It was actually quite a lot of fun. Maybe we will periodically wipe the board completely clean and start all over again. But for right now, we're going to just stick with what we got, and we're going to release the next set of effery. So much Mafia, thank you so much for coming out and watching and playing along with this stupid game. It was great fun. It was great fun. So don't forget, cook with love, eat with passion, and try this out, man. Try out the mystery box and send me a picture to munchiemafiaofficial@gmail.com. It was steak, creamed corn, shrimp, caramel, and basmati rice. And see what you come up with. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.